We are counting down Tigers and Gators Saturday night in Tiger Stadium. The single biggest storyline we have followed this week for LSU in Florida, of course, is Braelin Moore's health. By now, we all understand the reality with Trey'Dez Green, the MCL sprain. He's not going to be available for this game against Florida. I think it's very doubtful he plays next week against Southeastern. Target, like we've said from the beginning of the week, would most likely be the game against Ole Miss in a couple of weeks in Oxford. Braelin Moore is the one that's a bit more in the air. And I want to kind of go through what this week has been like as far as the conversation with Braelin Moore, just to illustrate back to back the ebbs and flows of how this week has gone. So we know Moore is injured on Saturday. Now, Saturday after the game, Brian Kelly, after the game on Saturday, didn't have much information. We were told at Louisiana Sports.net, Hunt, I, both independently, Saturday night, then again Sunday morning, that Braelin Moore, ankle sprain, likely to miss a game or games. Same with Trey'Dez. And on Monday, when Brian Kelly met with reporters, he was asked about Braelin Moore. So this was Brian Kelly on Monday of this week.
MRIs, were positive. We didn't get the true sense that we have a high ankle sprain with Braelin. There was nothing that gave us that sense that when we looked at the MRI that, hey, this is a tightrope procedure and he's going to be out for, 4 weeks. He's going to be day to day. We'll get him out there tomorrow. We'll see how he feels. He felt better today. So I think we're going to list him as questionable, and that could change to probable as we go through the week. We'll see how he progresses.
Okay, so Monday, Braelin Moore was questionable. Get him out there, move him around. Felt better today than yesterday. He's questionable. He's day-to-day. We'll see how he feels. So Wednesday morning on the SEC Coaches Teleconference, here was the very quick update.
I think we have him listed as probable. He did practice yesterday, and we expect him to practice today.
Okay, so probable. He goes from questionable Monday, Wednesday morning, probable. He practiced Tuesday, probable. Wednesday night, okay, so Wednesday morning, Brian Kelly said it's probable. We'll see. Wednesday night, the injury report comes out, and he's not probable. He's questionable on the injury report on Wednesday night. And I told you candidly, if you were here with us, that I had a conversation with a few people after practice on Wednesday. Said he was out there, but it didn't look great. Might be best to rest him. 24 hours after that, Thursday, and after Thursday's practice, Brian Kelly meets with reporters, then has his coaches show. This was Brian Kelly Thursday after practice.
Braelin took all the reps today with the first team. He's ready to go, and I think we're going to list him. If not, I think he's probable, right?
So, probable. Okay, so he goes then Thursday night to probable. All that to say, this has been a week of ebbs and flows with Braelin Moore. It has not been a week of certainty. And I'm going to tell you my opinion. Okay, so I gave you what Brian Kelly said. You can make your decision. I'm giving you my opinion. I'm going to be very clear. I'm not reporting anything. I'm giving you an opinion. My opinion, and I did text with someone on staff today who said they think Braelin Moore will play. Okay, my opinion, I believe Brian Kelly said he's probable. I think he's going to try to give it a go. I think they're going to tape it up. I think he's going to get injected. I think they're going to try to give it a go because Brian Kelly watched that game a year ago, and it was the one thing that caused them to win that game a year ago in Gainesville was the offensive line. That offensive line flatly cost LSU that football game in Gainesville, a game that LSU moved up and down the field, dominated the pace of play, the flow, the yardstick, everything, but they couldn't keep Garrett Nussmeier upright. He was running for his life the whole game a year ago in Gainesville. And so my concern, as I've said it, is that I fear that you could be in a situation like what happened with Leonard Fournette in 2016, where you have an ankle injury that is nagging. And when you come back too soon from it, then you can try to get ready for Saturday, but then you re-aggravate it, and you set back, and you try to give it time, but you come back too early to rush because you got a big game. And in that season, if you remember, Leonard Fournette ended up only playing 7 games. Yes, it is different on the offensive line than at running back. Running back, you got to stop, start, cut, sprint, all that stuff. Offensive line, you're playing in a phone booth. You just got to lean on people. I'm oversimplifying it, but I think you understand what I mean here. This is such an important game, though, in the context of the season. It is a conference game. It is at home. It's one you have to win, and it's a dangerous defensive team. And a year ago, that Florida defense raised a whole lot of hell, as we've talked about all week. It's 7 sacks, 11 TFLs, 14 hurries, 20 pressures. It was crazy. Garrett Nussmeier was running for his life. There was 2 forced fumbles in the ball game as well. A big part of that also was Caleb Banks. Now, Brian Kelly on Thursday was asked about Caleb Banks. 6'6", 330, a dude who forced 2 fumbles a year ago, had a handful of pressures in that game as well, a sack, a TFL. This is Brian Kelly on Caleb Banks.
He's a really good player, and there were a number of guys that we played against in the SEC that have similar traits. He's a really good player. He's physical. He certainly was disruptive for us, so we're aware of him. We know that, similar to Woods at Clemson, these guys have to be, blocked and sometimes double teamed. So we're quite aware of him, know he's going to play, and we'll have to be up for the task.
So you heard Brian Kelly mention Woods. It's Peter Woods from Clemson. Here's what I think they're looking at. LSU knew going into that game against Clemson. LSU knew going into that game that they had to deal with Woods and with Parker, and they couldn't let those two dudes beat them. Woods and Parker, that game at Clemson, week 1, combined for 4 tackles in that game. They combined for 4 tackles in that game. LSU, by and large, neutralized those 2 big dudes because they had a ton of time to prepare for it. I think that's what they're targeting here as well. To know that Caleb Banks and Tyreek Sapp wrecked you a year ago. So did Shamar James, and he plays for the Cowboys now. And Jack Pyburn plays for LSU. But those 2 dudes, you got to count for and make sure they don't beat you. I think that's what they're focusing on this week. Now, Paul Mabenga, I mentioned Caleb Banks. Caleb Banks played 52 snaps last year in the B gap. That's over the guard. And those reps were against Paul Mabenga and Miles Frazier. If you're scoring at home, Paul Mabenga's PFF grade a year ago against Florida, his overall grade was a 45. His run blocking grade was a 42. And his pass blocking grade was a 33. That was Paul Mabenga's grades a year ago against Florida. If you're watching, look right. See that red column right there, Florida? It was his worst game, not even close. So, well, he's bad against Alabama too. So, now you've got Paul Mabenga, who has improved. I'm not saying he's an All-American, but he has improved. And most importantly, he has improved in his pass blocking grade. Against Clemson, he graded out an 81. Against Tech, he graded out an 80.7. So his season pass blocking grade, 2 games, is an 83.4 for Paul Mabenga. So he has gotten better in that area where you needed him to get better. You feel you're better with Braelin Moore there. You hope that this pass protection can be dramatically improved than it was a year ago. As a matter of fact, on Thursday, Brian Kelly also talked about what they like about Paul Mabenga and how he's improved from a year ago.
Well, I think first and foremost, he's assignment correct. He's really reliable. You can trust him that he's going to do the right things. He moves his feet very well. And I think more than anything else, it's just continue to, work, staying low, playing with better pads. He has a tendency to rise up a little bit. And I thought he had a great week. And the combination of him and Cohen Eccles, I think, puts us in a really good position at that guard position.
So it's pretty easy. LSU's defense is great. We know it. Florida's offense is scuffling. Everybody knows that. The key to this game is that LSU offensive line keeping Garrett Nussmeier upright, and they're going to run Braelin Moore out there on a bum ankle, which tells you how much they understand that is the matchup they have to win in this game. It is the one thing, literally the one thing, that Florida could compromise in LSU's entire game plan. We'll see how good Braelin Moore is to go on Saturday night in Tiger Stadium. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.